That is heat, right?
What?
That's heat.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
It's not here, no?
Well, it's fine, Baruch Hashem.
Oh.
We'll get used to it, don't worry.
Did it right.
Okay. Miss Hashem, this week, Parshas Vayeshev. We're continuing to Samach. We are holding by Seif Vav, Seif Hey, paragraph Hey. A very short encapsulation, just that we know where we're holding, what we're talking about. We say that there are paths in Torah understanding that has immense comprehension and introspect, understanding in them. The only way to get it is by acquiring tremendous wealth, and this wealth has to be Kedusha, obviously.
Doesn't the person have to be Kedusha?
No, that's how you do it. That's That's exactly it. We said, that in order to be able to sustain this, the thing that gets you this is Arichas Yamim, to let you every single day you add more and more Kedusha. The way to make this process sustainable is through Yira. This is how do you get Yira? So why does Yira help that? Because Yira saves you when you stay away from the beauty of women. So Kedusha. And through Kedusha, this is, because the opposite of Kedusha makes a person poor. And Kedusha, they've explained it. We learned all this before. And it says that when you make long days, oldness, and then you're able to get to contain all these ashiras, all this wealth that you need in order, to have this insight. And we explained that in order to get this kind of, sustainable process of adding Kedusha every single day, which Rabbeinu calls Tikunei Atik. That's the headline over the whole Torah. In order to do this, you add Kedusha every single day. And you can do it, you can sustain it through a year if you have Yira. And Yira, it keeps you on your toes. So every single day you add more and more Kedusha. And last time we explained that this year has to be in three different fashions. Has to be Yira Sarav, have to be, gazing upon pondering the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Chochmah bin Adas, and it has to be, Yiras Talmud, to learn with Yira, which means you're not just learning because it's interesting, because it's wise, because you're going to be called Talmid Chacham or whatever it is, but you're learning with your Shemaim. You're learning in order to be Mekayim. And the last one he says it's Moira Avaim. Says this pertains to a person's belongings. It says again, also divided into three: how you conduct your business, be scared of somebody else's money. Money doesn't belong to you. And the second one is, what's the purpose of making money? This is the purpose of making money, to have money, to be rich. This is for women and children. This is nonsense. And what are you going to do? What is the person going to do? He's going to buy himself a coffin made of gold. What's it going to do with it? It's nonsense. And but for his bonus, if you do it in order to get this incident, but it's Hashem, then it is worthwhile. And the last one, it says, Shlisha b'yadoi, this is enough tzedakah. Because Baruch Hu gives you money, give tzedakah away. And we learned already before, I think, Torah base, no, I think Torah base, that the main avodah of tzedakah is where you have to break the inborn cruelty and stinginess, and to give. He says, because if somebody gives because he has a good nature, So he's, he's soft. He's like gregarious. He's like, I'm going to pay the bill. I'm the one. Okay. This is not avodah of tzedakah. I mean, it's tzedakah, but it's a mitzvah. But an avodah it is not. The avodah is that you break, you really don't feel like giving, or you don't feel like giving to this one, or you feel like giving only this and you give more. All this is called avodah tzedakah. This is the thing. So this is where we're holding right now. So now has to be the question, B'Seder. Now we understand how the year is supposed to be. What's supposed to be applied, how you internalize it, and everything else. How you apply it, it's in your pondering, and in your learning, in your business. Fine, but how do you get here? That's a little problem, isn't it? Just a little problem. How do you get this year? To apply in all these things. That's what the Rebbe is explaining in Sif Hey. Is galus hayira al de pkidas hakaros. It says the revelation of the year is through pkidas hakaros, when barren women become expecting, when they become impregnated. Pkidas hakaros. This obviously was like, whoa. I haven't done that, rescued and brought deliverance to women who cannot give birth for years and years and years. This is miraculous. I can do this. What's it got to do with me? The Rebbe is going to show what does it mean exactly, Pkidas hakaros, to cure barren women, so they conceive and give birth. So first of all, the Rebbe explains why through, by barren women conceiving, that reveals the year. That's the first thing Rebbe explains.
I think I missed the whole idea you just expressed.
The thing is that the revelation of Yira, this Galus Yira, is through when barren women are rescued from not having children, and they conceive and they have children. Sorry, meaning. Well, the Rebbe talks about sorry, meaning. Exactly right. There's also a Pkidas hakaros. Well, you can ask, what's it got to do with me? I mean, but the Rebbe explains what the Pkidas hakaros has to do with you.
But isn't any woman considered barren until she has children?
Seder, but then there's certain women. The Rebbe says it applies to every woman, especially to those who could not have children for many, many years. So that's what he says. Later, through childbirth, in this Gala year, that in itself, any woman gives birth. By the way, B'ezrat Hashem, this year is dedicated to my brand new great daughter, a great granddaughter. Yes, yeah, the first one. Mo Hashem.
Make you feel younger.
What?
Makes you feel younger.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched it like sitting on the windowsill, digging everything. Like, what happened? I don't know. I know you put up the production line, it just runs. I guess it has to do with me. Baruch Hashem, amen. So this is for the schos of the Yoledes, Sarah, Rivka, Abbas, Chana Chamarocho, and her daughter was Hashem. I don't think she has a name yet, but B'ezrat Hashem, gesund and stark, her parents should to be regarded with Torah, Masim Tegel. So any kind of childbirth brings about revelation of Yira. And it says in the pasuk, Re'odo achazasam shom, chil kayaleda. It is in when Am Yisrael came out from Mitzrayim, and Yam Suf was broken, to pass. That brought an immense terror over all the rulers of the world at the time. And so it says, Ra'ada achazasam sham, tremor, trembling, seizes them, says David HaMelech. Chil, like fear, kayoleda, like a woman is giving birth. So it seems to me that we're using the David HaMelech is using the word Yoleda is just how afraid they were, how trembling they were, and how shaken they were, like a woman is giving birth. Then you will see that actually the Rebbe is teaching us the other way around.
Yeah.
So he says that through the Bechina of Yoleda, when there is a Yoleda, when there is a childbirth, that reveals trembling and awe and fear. And Al Pipshat, we just learned that it's like a muscle. This is how how afraid they were. Like a woman was giving birth. When a woman's giving birth, especially if it's the first time or whatever it is, she's terrified. There's a lot of din. Everything is a. Why is that? Why is it says that when there's a Yoleda, when there's birth, there's a revelation in the entire world of Yira. In other words, whenever a woman is giving birth, it's an auspicious time for a person who wants to be a Rishamayim to get Yira. At the time when a woman gives birth. Why? Because it is through giving birth, Yotzim Domim Gvuros. What happens during childbirth? There's blood comes out, and so forth. There's a lot of it's a time of great din, of great judgment. It's a time of fear, a time of judgment, a time of dinim. And when the child comes out, the blood comes out, and beauty fluid comes out, and the yira, is misgala. Aliyah is a domi mikvuras because through the ladle, blood and guras come out. Shem pchinas yira, because the blood, the domim, the shirish is from the midah of gvura and yira. Blood is red, it comes from dinim, comes from gvura and yira. So this is by, as you say, like a normal woman. Or bifrat kshenifkodu akora. How much more so? When a woman who couldn't give birth for a long, long time, she becomes expectant. I don't know what's nifkodo, what's the word in English, for nifkodo. What about her, the barren woman? That the blood and the gvuras were held in so much for so long. It's like it provides more and more pressure, more and more gvuras, more and more dinim. Afterwards, when they come out, when she gives birth, and all the blood and gvuras come out, this causes the yira to be revealed much more than anything else, than any other time. And obviously, this is a great time of fear in the world. And as I said before, anybody who is looking to be a Shemaim, who wants to be a Shemaim, this is when the Yira is palpable. You can attain your Shemaim much more easily. And commensurately with the Leda, with the birth, Kenis Galus Yira. They are commensurate to one another. What does it mean? So the Rebbe says, because when one barren woman, becomes conceiving, and she's giving birth, is Gala Yira, then Yira Shemaim, fear of Hashem is being revealed. But what happens if many women who until now couldn't give birth, and now they conceive and they all give birth? This reveals the Yira to an unbelievable extent. How much chil, how much fear, how much Yira is exposed? Kayaledo. Commensurate with how many women gave birth, how many barren women gave birth, commensurate to that is how big is the year that is being exposed. Chil means year. It's a. It says there, kefia leida ken is galus year. The way the leida is, this is how how much year is being reviewed. So now Rabbeinu says exactly what you pointed to before. Now, ken berosh Hashanah, dafka berosh Hashanah, which is Yom Adin, of course, the day of judgment. Hayab kidos Yitzchok. This was the time when Yitzchok was conceived, when Sarah Imenu was conceived. Sarah is the Malchus. Yitzchok is Pachad Yitzchok. This is the Yitzchok. He is the epitome of Europe. In other words, that's the time when the memory, the Zikaron of Sarah came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he decreed that she will give birth to Yitzchok. When Yitzchak was conceived, this is obviously and was born. It was an immense galus of Yira. Yitzchak, Pachad Yitzchak, Sarah, and Yitzchak reveals the Yira immensely. Ad kedei kach that this is what we read in Rosh Hashanah. This is what happened in Rosh Hashanah, which is Yom Adin. Everything, congregates to one specific time, which is time of Yira, time of dinim, time of judgments. V'chinas Pachad Yitzchak. Now, Yitzchak, he epitomizes, he signifies the midah of Pachad in Yira. Kiksheniv Sarah, because when Sarah Meinu gave birth, Yifkado Kama Koresima. Many women who could not give birth, they gave birth together with her. The way Chachamenu say that. Now, we have to understand that Sarah Meinu, at the time when she got expecting, it was a miraculous Hisgalus a year Ba'olam. So whenever you have a revelation of Kedusha, immediately the other side wakes up and says, what happened then? Sarah was taken to the house of Avimelech. Right? She spent the night there. So Leitzana Dor, the jokers of a generation, Sarah Meina was 90 years old. She lived with her husband for so many years, and she didn't give him any birth. No, and you see, she was one night by the palace of Avimelech, and suddenly, bada bim, bada boom, she's pregnant. So they said, Avimelech is Abra Sarah. That's how they joked and said, Avimelech is the real father. So what did Kadosh Baruch Hu do? That's what was a Torah. This is, they cover up the nes, the miracle. So Kadosh Baruch Hu created the tzura, the face of Yitzchak Avinu, identical to Avraham Avinu. Yitzchak grew up, had a beard. They looked exactly the same. You meet one of them, like in the morning. In the afternoon, you see him, and he says, saw you in the morning. So you didn't see me. You saw my father, or you saw my son. No, they were not. Avraham Avinu then specifically requested that all the people will have white beards, gray and white beards, so people will be able to tell who is the son and who is the father. But until that time, there was no difference. You have to understand, you're talking about the time, the end of the era, where people used to live 600 years, 900 years. Now you're talking about. I'm saying, so you're talking about, Shem Va'ever. You're talking about, Noach lived 600 and some odd years. Many of those, past giants were still alive at that time. Avraham Avinu already, his years shrunk to 185 years. But nevertheless, he gave birth,
74.
75. 175. Why not? Here in Yitzchak. Anyhow, so by the time he was 90 years old, he was 100 years old. His son was half his life. It's like a person who's 35. It's like but at those times, where people, lived for hundreds of years. What's 100 years? It was 100 years. 100 years is nothing. It's like So they look exactly the same until Avraham Avinu was asked specifically. Yitzchak looked identical to Avraham Avinu, so everybody knew that Avraham Avinu is the father of Yitzchak. Okay, so this is the Galus, the story is taken away. But when Sarah Imenu gave birth, she was the queen of the generation. It is Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu was, the Malchus of the generation. And when Sarah Imenu conceived Yitzchak and gave birth to Yitzchak, that brought about the births of all the barren women in the generation. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know how many there were. I mean, like a lot. Many, many. So again, there's a story.
The ones that are older than her.
I don't know, older, younger, I'm not sure. But whatever it is, there are women who couldn't give birth until that time. Sarah Imenu gives birth, and they all conceive, they all give birth. So immediately, same way there is by the Leitzonim, by the jokers, there's a star. Over here again, there's a star. The Leitzonim says, no. They said, she gave birth to Yitzchak. He says, they joke that they say that Avraham Avinu is not the father. So Kadosh Baruch Hu, created Yitzchak exactly identical to Avraham Avinu. So everybody knew that Avraham Avinu is Yitzchak.
Wait, they were joking before the birth?
No, afterwards. I mean, how did they know? How did they know that? How did they know that she's conceiving? That she has conceived?
But how can they joke after that?
Because everybody knew that she gave birth.
It looked exactly like Avraham Avinu.
I said, but before they, which the baby looks like Avraham Avinu, the beard. I mean, right? So it took time. But in the meantime, they were joking. They say, she lived for so many years with Avraham Avinu, she didn't come expecting. Suddenly, she spends one night in the palace of the police, and suddenly, she's expecting, and so forth. So Kadosh Baruch Hu created Yitzchak exactly identical to Avraham Avinu. Everybody knows Avraham. And Avraham leads Yitzchak. He was the father of Yitzchak. Now, the time when Sarah Imenu gave birth, there were many, many barren women who also conceived and gave birth together with her. The schus of Sarah Imenu. Sarah Imenu was so holy that when she conceived, practically all the barren women in the generation, I don't know from where, around there, nothing around there, I don't know. They all conceived, they all gave birth. So immediately that caused another concealment, another story. What? Why Sarah gave birth? There was something cosmic in the air of that particular period. So it wasn't such a big miracle. You see, look how many barren women were, conceived. So it's not such a big miracle. It was, I don't know, nature, I don't know, global warming, whatever it is. Now they try to cover up the miracle with it. You're right. Yeah, it's a bit. So it's an outdoor is like everybody, in the government, everybody in the Knesset, everybody in newspapers, everybody all around. You need to know who the Eitzan Ador is. Anybody who wants to cover up. The Rebbe says the Geula will come when it's people that cover miracles. With Derech HaTeva, when they will finish, it's Torah test. When they will finish, they'll be exposed. They will stop covering the miracles. But Derech HaTeva, then the Geula will come. It's the Goyim and the Jews too. But at that time, it was mainly Goyim, but the Goyim and the Jews aren't. I'm not I'm not.
They're covering up the.
Yeah. But I'm not designating titles. Who is Leitzon? Who is not? But so what Akash Baruch Hu did again to show that this was an extraordinary miracle, and all the barren women generation, the fact that they conceived and gave birth, was all the schus of Sarah. So what did Akash Baruch Hu do? Time when they made the shindig, the time the Igamas Yitzchok. So what happened is that the barren women, they gave birth, yes, but they didn't have any milk. They couldn't feed their babies. So they all brought the babies, to this big party of Avraham Avinu. And Sarah Meinu, breastfed all of them, all the children. And Nika Bonim Sarah. Sarah, breastfed Bonim, many, many, many children. Then everybody saw like this is all those that they gave birth. They gave birth because of the schos of Sarah Meinu. Now we can see that Yitzchok is the crux of Yira and Pachan. And remember, we said Yira, Arichus Yomim, Ashiras. It's all one thing. So this is the Zeh Bechinas that Sarah said after. She says, "Who mi mielo laAvraham and Nika Boni Sarah? Who is this that said about Avraham Avinu that Sarah Meinu breastfed Bonim? Ki aladati, because I gave birth ben lizekunov. I gave birth to what? To his oldness, lizekunov, because Avraham Avinu was zeichet to Pchinas Zoken, to Pchinas Arichas Yomim, to Pchinas, Europe, to Pchinas Zoken. So therefore, and so this is what she saw, Yitzchok, because through by the birth of Yitzchok Avinu, who is Galus Ayira, is the revelation of the year, automatically, that brings about the lengthening of the days, as we said before. We explain what is Arichas Yomim, that you add Kedusha every day. How do you sustain this effort of adding Kedusha every single day? And not just saying, okay, listen, I worked for a day or two, enough. Okay, let's just rest for, I don't take a vacation. You have a euro, you have a driving force. Oh, watch out. As we said before, to a euro, you're zoicher to add on Kedusha every day. And this is, the days are being lengthened, are being widened. B'chinas Yis Hashem, Toisif Yomim. What days Yis Hashem? That adds Yomim, that adds days. Ki aladati, she gave birth to Yitzchak. B'chinas Galus Hayira. This brought out, what is it, how was it, how is it kuno? This brought about the Bechina of Zoken, Arichas Yomim. This is how the Yira comes about. Okay. So up to now, we are able to explain why Pkidas Akoros, when barren women conceive and they give birth, this is something that brings about a great revelation of Yira. Good. But what I still don't know, what's it got to do with me? What am I supposed to do so that barren women will conceive? Am I supposed to do miracles? Am I supposed to, take a staff? What am I supposed to do? This Rebbe says in Sifov. But what is Pkidas Akoros? He said, Pkidas Akoros naso, this phenomenon that barren women conceive and become expecting, and they give birth. This is a phenomenon that happens when you wake people from their slumber. And the Rebbe is going to explain at great length, until we get to Hashem the Sif Ches, how this is done through Pkiras HaKoros. Yesh bnei Adam, there are people, the Rebbe says, sheyesheinim es yameim. They are sleeping away their days. Even though people that see them think Shem over Hashem, they serve Hashem. Now, we're not just talking about, people that watch the Yankees or the Knicks or Manchester United or whatever. People that learn Torah, people that daven. Even though the Olam thinks that, they serve Hashem. They're busy davening and learning. Still, En Hashem Yisborach nachas mehem. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have enjoyment from that. Because all their toil, all their avodah, all the Torah they learned, the tefillah that they daven, nishal kol avodas lemato, it remains down. Exact
same thing. On our baby, we have a tank that's around the neck, in the middle of the sleep. A friend is, he lost his baby.
That's the one you spoke about.
Yeah, he lives in Gimmelstein. Yeah, he's very aggressive. He davens the Libermensch.
He said he was about in Uman.
Yeah, the ranch. Yeah.
Where was he? Which upstairs, downstairs? Where was he?
The room with me. The room with me. That's 2 years. His father from Chicago. He was with his father. Right, he dressed a little bit litayish with his father, and I think
yes.
so.
They eat upstairs. They eat upstairs.
Yeah.
They eat upstairs when everybody's eating downstairs. They eat upstairs. They're the one that I don't know. Anyhow, okay. Whatever. Let's just continue with Hashem. Hashem Yerachem. So we say that there are certain people who sleep their days away. Even though people think that they're davening and they're learning and everything else, it says the entire avodah does not ascend; it remains down. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have any enjoyment from it. We have to understand, what does this mean? What does it mean that the avodah ascends? It goes up. What's the pshat? What's the pshat that tefillah goes up? Always say, because Baruch doesn't hear it. Of course he hears it. What do you have to tell Kodesh Baruch in his ear? Kodesh Baruch hears everything, no matter where you say it. The pshat is that Kodesh Baruch bevadai has enough from anybody who's performing mitzvahs. For the tikkun, for the staying away from Averis and performing mitzvah, he puts on tefillin. Somebody doesn't put on tefillin, it's an Aver, right? Davening, Shachris, Mincha, Marev, whatever it is, Kip Shabbos, whatever it is, it was a pshat that goes up. So Lemaisa is that, as we said, there are two halakha, the two parts to the avodah of a person. One of them is the personal tikkun. Person does the mitzvah, chas v'chalil or not, it's a person does the mitzvahs, Baruch Hashem, because Baruch Hu has a noah from it. Because Baruch Hu has a noah from any movement, Mekdusha of any kind of yid, because Baruch Hu is happy that his will was performed. People act according to his constitution. This Baruch Hu is happy about that. Doesn't matter whether it goes up or goes down. However, when the avodah is not done as we will learn, with the kind of sechel that we will talk about very soon, the avodah is supposed to also rectify all the worlds, all the realms, all the upper realms, all the way up and up and up and up to the highest level. You're sustaining all these upper. The Rebbe says in Terek Kufiyat Beis that when a person speaks Kodesh Baruch Hu, words of truth, he says, Tachtiim, Shniim, Ushlishim Taser. He says, you bring about tikkun to this world and to the Olam HaGalgalim, all the stars and everything, and all of the Malachim, the level of all the Malachim, all the angels, Yitzir and Bria, they're all getting chayas. When the avodah, that means that the avodah goes up, that the tefillah goes up. Yes, you daven. This day, there's a check mark. Did you daven? Yes, you davened. But that davening was what you call a private davening. It got you out of trouble. Fine. But it doesn't do all these tikkunim, this universal tikkunim, and all the oilimus for which a person was created, we were created to perform. That means the avoid doesn't go up. So a person can sit down and learn, a person can sit, can daven, whatever it is, but it doesn't do what it is supposed to do. Because Baruch Hu doesn't have ultimate nachas ruach from that. Yes, happy you did what Baruch Hu wanted to do, you did it, fine. But that's not what you're about. Now the Rebbe explains what it is that this is about. He says, Ki ikar achius wasechel, the main life force, the main vitality that drives anything is the seichel. The wisdom, the seichel, that gives the juice to the one who owns the chokhmah. When somebody, we said it, a couple of times ago. Somebody goes in the street, and you went in the street, and they said, "Who did you see in the street?" I don't know. Were there no people in the street? Yeah, there were. So who? How many you saw them? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You don't see? Yeah, I see. Why didn't you see them? You didn't see them, you don't remember who they are, because you don't care about it. There's no chayes, there's no heart in it. The heart means that there is chokhmas alev, then there is motivation, then there's excitement, there's ambition. Now you went over there and you saw everybody, you remember everything. You go, when you do it with chokhmah, with Islam, with the seichel, this is called seichel. That you're doing whatever you're doing with seichel. But if you came to shul and your first machshava was, when am I going to go out of shul again? When will I finish davening already? That's the first machshava zara that you have. You don't remember even what machshava zaras you had during davening, let alone what the davening was. The same thing with learning. If a person learns by rot, or a person is davening by rot, he is here, his body is here, his mouth is here, even his mind is here. But there's no seichel, there's no chiyus, there's no vitality, there's no injection of seichel. Seichel means connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If a person learns without connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a person is davening without connection to the Baruch Hu, and don't ask me, how can a person daven without connection to the Baruch Hu? I personally know Shem Yirachim too well. How can you go through the davening without connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I know it only too well. The point is that without being connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that the person does is asleep. So a person is like sleepwalking. He's sleepwalking through his davening. He's sleepwalking, through his learning. He's sleepwalking through his mitzvahs. That's what I do. I belong to the Jewish nation. That's what we do.
This becomes habit. This habit.
Yeah.
Or as an aspect that the person learns.
Uh-huh.
And bottom line is, the purpose of all the learning is to bring a person to conduct themselves with proper merits.
Right.
They should go down to the everyday life, to meet us, everything.
Right.
It would be an aspect of what you bring it down.
Bevadai. That's definitely part of it. So it's called Torah. It comes before Torah.
Otherwise, it's like out the window.
So it's not totally out the window. It's still better than going to nightclubs, clubbing, and stuff like that. So at least
just an intellectual exercise.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, it's not. This is not chazan. This is the Rebbe calls people like this that they're sleeping their day. People can be religious for decades and reach, B'ezras Hashem, old age, and they were basically sleepwalking their entire life because whatever they were doing was not connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu was it's all about him, but not connected to him. But it says, but when avoid is with seichel, when the avoid is with seichel, when the avoid is with connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that injects everything a person does with vitality, so it can ascend. But when a person falls into what we call constricted consciousness, it's basically asleep. Yeah, I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that, but what? Shluf, yeah. Then these Torah and mitzvahs cannot ascend. Comes the question, what brings a person to sleep? What brings a person to spiritual sleep? And with this, B'ezras Hashem, we will finish this time. The he says, why does it happen? There are those who fall into an aspect of sleep, al the tivus and masirain, through tivus, through temptations and desires and bad deeds. Everybody understands that when people fall into this, it separates a person from Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it says, in other words, the avodah is without seichel. It causes a chasm between them and Kadosh Baruch Hu. It seems to you, hey, I'm now different than I ever was. So I watched the movie. What's the big spritz? You're disconnected from Kadosh Baruch Hu. Whatever you do afterwards is more disconnected from Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're asleep. So this is something that's obvious to everybody. Rebbeinu adds another thing, another aspect that brings about this kind of spiritual slumber, this dissonance Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's still people that are ehrlich and they're beautiful, beautiful people, ruchnis. If you lost them, their downfall, their achila is through eating. What does it mean? You gotta eat, no? There's popcorn in here. Yeah, how do you eat? And it says, sometimes when a person eats foodstuffs, they still wasn't purified and totally sifted to be fit for human consumption. this causes his moyach, his mind, to fall into an aspect of schnorchetzing a little. What does it mean? Food that wasn't, wasn't misbarrer, wasn't still, purified, machal adam. The main tikkun in this world is birurim. Birurim is you're taking out the holiness and you discard, the extra, the husks. So this process starts, when they sow the field and they grow up the wheat and they they reap it and they sift it, and each process is a process of purification where the excess is being discarded and the main stuff is being mifura, being purified, and moves forward. So when a person eats something that wasn't, it wasn't ripe yet, whatever it is, so maybe it's good for an animal. An animal can eat stalks and whatever it is, but a person cannot eat it. So this is just on the most basic level. But the thing is that the purification process has to go, behemoth has to be shechted. Or the chicken has to be shechted. It has to be shechted by somebody who is Yer Shemai. And doing it lishma. And doing it with bracha. And that's also a bechina. If a Chas Chalil was in the shechter, or they take
We're talking food that's
all
not
food,
kosher.
all
Kosher, or
it could be glad kosher also. I mean, it's a process. Okay, between the treif and the first has to be kosher. That's the most elemental beer. Then you have trumas and ma'asos. They have to be taken out from United Israel. You have to take it. It could be arla. Whatever. All those things that need to be. This is all called, as long as it doesn't go through this process, it's called a meichel that wasn't purified to be fit for human consumption. And not only that, once it's kosher lemahadrin, it's everything that you want it to be. But it comes to a person and either he doesn't make a bracha, or he swallows up the bracha, like a rip, whatever it is. This is a pgam, this is a damage, is a chisaron in the birur, in the purification process, the machal adam. At any given stage, I said, okay, why do I eat? If I eat because this is gourmet, because I really love sushi, and I don't know if you ever tasted, Wagyu beef, but man, whatever the case may be, it means that stage of the process is still not purified properly. And as much as a person is interested in making the food more tasty, it puts in slumber, it separates you from Kadosh Baruch Hu. And there's something to enjoy from this world. So, but if you're eating in order to serve Kadosh Baruch Hu, so you have koyach to serve Kadosh Baruch Hu. So every single piece of food, when you eat it in this kavon, afterwards it's translated to one line of Gemara, or one kapitel of Tillim. This is called food that was purified, the machal adam. Now, there are infinite levels, obviously, in this thing. But the more a person says, okay, up to here, that's it. It's kosher. They have a certificate, it's on the wall. The waitress says, look, they're going around. It's already a pgam in the purification of the. It's not machal shnizbara machal adam. Not fit for human consumption. Why are you eating it? They say Rebbe Nachman said about his father. Rebbe Nachman Tulchina was the Talmud of Rebbe Nosson. He says that his father never salted his food, never added salt to his food. Hmm? No, his wife cooked whatever she cooked, but you eat it. So you're missing any salt. Salt is it? What does salt do? Salt gives you taste. That's what it does. He never salted his food. He ate total Hashem Shemaim, not just in his body getting this enjoyment. Whatever. It's not up to him. Ultimately, we will see that the Rebbe explains at great length of how all this thing is done. The point is that befadai, we should be makpid on all the things. The food should be kosher and so forth and so on. Whatever it is, lamahadrin, and everything should be the way it's supposed to be. When a person comes to eat, it's like, in a certain way, it's even more, it's like davening. What does it mean? If you want to daven, I want to give you a little trick. If you are davening and you have a problem, difficulty in davening b'chavona, in meaning what you're saying, a nifty trick is when you say a pasuk, stop a little bit and look at the next pasuk, the next verse, and then say it. Then stop a little bit, look at the next one, say it. You'll notice that one of the things that cause a person to run through his davening is because he doesn't pay attention. I already said this and I already forgot it. That's the next one. Stop a little bit. It's just a little pause. Look before you look at the next, same pasuk. Suddenly you see that the davening that a person takes half an hour to daven, suddenly takes you 2 hours to daven. What did you do? Just looked at the words and thought, what does the word mean? Just recognize the simple meaning of the words, not more than that. Nothing, not chapping angels. Simple, just look, what does the words mean? Just what does the word mean? Baruch Atah Hashem. Okay. It's just, and if you pause a little bit before you say it, you'll notice a lot easier to concentrate and to actually see what it is that you're saying. The same thing is with eating. An Eitzah Tova, before you start eating, Rabbi Gundel, he's an expert he's a doctor, and he says that the main thing about eating is called mindful eating. Before you eat, think. Should you be eating this? Is this good for you?
Also, mindful eating is chewing, like that. Gobbling.
Yeah.
Break down.
Yeah. So the same thing is over here. Before you eat, a mindful eating is, why am I eating? Don't jump into it. Why am I eating? And you'll notice it'll be a lot easier to eat for all the right reasons. Because Baruch Hashem, in the world that we live in, it is fairly easy to have kosher food. The B'ezrat Hashem, Baruch Hashem passed all the processes and was processed and it was purified and everything it's just ready for you to eat. Nothing is missing. B'ezrat Hashem. The rest is up to you. It's sitting on a plate right before you. Take a minute to think. Why am I eating? And keep in mind, I'm eating in order that I should be healthy. I conserve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what I was created for. Just that. Obviously, you need to ask for it. Because if it's just something that you do, you'll forget to do it. Ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what Rebbe Nachman helped me eat. Only machal, this world, so I don't fall into a pchina of sleep. A very important Parsha, Yosef. We just learned, Pachad Yitzchak. once before. Pachad Yitzchok. Yitzchok is the descriptor of Am Yisrael. Yitzchok is the Oisius Ketz Chai. And he ended, then he started living again. When you look around the world today, and you see that anti-Semitism is like, it's open season on Jews. Literally all over the world. They're not even ashamed of it anymore. It's like okay. Yeah. It's an open season. And they don't realize Yitzchak is taking him to the Akedah. And that's it, that's the end. Avraham is going to Shecht Yitzchak Avinu, and there's no more Am Yisrael. There's Shita that Yitzchak Avinu actually passed away. So from fear, and then it was arrived again. Some say it took 3 years before, whatever it is, but there's a Shita that it's finished. It's finished, it's gone. In this week's Parsha, Am Yisrael is getting into Shvatim are getting into trouble they cannot get out. They sell Yosef. Yosef is going to Mitzrayim. Yosef is Tzaddik Ador. Until you come to the Machshava, I was like, how can it be that tribes, Shivteka, sell the Din of Yitzchok is, the Din of the Shvatim is actually solved, 2 parshas later. Parshas Vayigash. It's finished. The Shvatim got entangled with the ruler of Egypt, does not want to listen to anything, they're done for. He took Shimon, he took Binyamin stole, Kivyochel stole, whatever it is, it's finished, it's done. And they said if they're going to tell their father, Yitzchak v'chas v'chalila Yaakov Avinu is going to perish from Tzar. That's it. Am Yisrael is finished. It's done for. And the whole thing flips over with 2 words. When it looks the bleakest, it looks the worst, comes 2 words. Ani Yosef. Bam. This is why a joke is funny. Because after the whole thing goes into one way, suddenly the Napochel flips all over. Purim. That's it. That's the end of all of this. There's no way out. And then, boom, the whole thing flips over. Told you many times about the scene that the human being is the only animal that laughs. The things are funny. Animals don't laugh. Animals are very grim creatures. They're amazed at.
Hyenas not laugh.
No, of course not. I'm saying no animal laughs. There's no humor by animals. No such thing. Only people. So Freud studied this Indian of what's a der Witz, the joke. What is the thing that makes people? Nobody can explain what is the need of human being to laugh. Human being to laugh, where everything goes one way and then it flips over. So fear not what goes on in the world. Mezat Hashem, Yesh Inyan, as Rabbeinu says, Shnefach HaKol HaTeva. Everything flips over in one fell swoop. And this is when the joke is. This is when the laughter. This is Yitzchak. Yitzchak is laughter. Why? Because it's ketz. It's finished. No more. You have nowhere to go. Then it's chai. They don't get it. They simply don't perceive that, we're doing everything to them. Drowning them, killing them, burning them, whatever, for millenniums. It's not just like Not for a year or two. We're talking about literally thousands of years. What else do you have to do? You can't do anything. It's a nation that dies and resurrects at the same time. Children fall off the derech, but the children come back in. In generation, or maybe a generation later, they also come back and other fall off. Nobody can understand, this nation is the meaning of Ketz Chai. This is all typified by Yitzchak. But to understand the B'nai Hashem will be zocher to great hero, to remember why we're here in this world, and use our time properly. And there's Davak B'Rabbeinu HaKodesh. B'nai Hashem will have a good Shabbos, and B'nai Hashem, Freitag and Chanukah bevadai. The Meir Yideh. A lot to talk about Chanukah itself, but Hashem, we'll do it next week. Baruch Hashem. Well, by 8 o'clock you're over.
I don't know. No, just asking.
Yeah.